Did you see the ad she had out?
Oh, I saw the video.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Christian. The word Christian is written on the screen this big across her face. I mean, as a Christian, let me tell you, that is obscene. That is like I mean, literally like, vote for me, a TV ad, Christian. It's just, I don't know. Maybe this is like Southern Christianity, but to those of the rest of us, that is obscene.
Can Christians,
I couldn't even imagine doing that.
Can Christians talk about nipples as much as you have on this interview so far, though?
Well, I'll tell you one thing they don't do. They don't go fucking flaring their nipples at UN religious meetings. That's what Christians don't do. But Jesus. No, I get it's the hypocrisy on their side. The thing is, they're the ones who would imagine if Obama's daughter was doing that at the UN at a meeting when Obama was president. Well, oh my God.
They've obviously embraced hypocrisy now. I mean, if you really look at it.
They're trash. They're just trash, whatever.
But I mean, again, that is there is I don't want to say it's half of America, but it's, I mean, look, I even talk about it within my own family, John. I'm 43 years old and born in Connecticut, state that always goes to the Democrats. Democratic senators, Rosa DeLauro has been there forever, and Democratic governor in office now with Ned Lamont.
Right.
And within my own family, and these are all people that grew up in Connecticut, I deal with the same 50-50 battle of half of my family is like, I don't get it. Why are people mad at Trump? And he did this, and I got to see their memes on Facebook telling me how great Trump was, and try not to literally unfriend family members.
I know.
It's not just Arkansas. It's not just Alabama with Tommy Tuberville. It's half of them. It really does feel like it's half of America.
The Chicago suburbs, I know people that I have to deal with on this. And I'm like, Chicago suburbs, we were relatively normal Republicans there.
Sure.
But they fell for the Trump thing. I don't understand how he's tapped into these people. And for a lot of these guys, it's not economic stuff. I think the racial explanation is frankly too simple, and it kind of pisses me off. Everyone wants a simple explanation. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh, they're all racist. I mean, they might be, but that's not what they were voting for. Obama won twice. You know what I mean?
Right.
If they were all racist, they would have stopped the guy the second time. They wouldn't have let him get elected the second time. I mean, even saying it was a boomerang against Obama, they should have boomeranged against Obama after 4 years. They wouldn't have gotten to help them get a right. I just think that's, again, it's too simplistic of an answer. But what scares me is on like everything we're seeing Republicans sort of excuse it. And again, that's not racism. That's we're seeing an excuse, whether you want to call it fascism, whether you want to call it authoritarianism, which a recent guest of ours called it, who was an expert on extremism. She was like, it's not really fascism. It's more, authoritarian. It's more, Mussolini. And I'm like, oh, well, that's good. More Mussolini than Hitler. But
there's no question that misinformation is playing such a role in all of this. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, again, I'm on Facebook fact-checking family members and getting angry texts in the middle of the night because I'm in Singapore and it's 4 o'clock in the morning when it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon in New York. And I'm getting messages from family members saying, why'd you say that on so-and-so's Facebook feed? Because that's your family. Well, yeah, it's my family. It doesn't make them immune from posting lies and sounding like an idiot.
But again, think of who they're listening to, though, okay? I can sort of tell people on the left this. Imagine that Obama's still president, and there's some huge, horrific lie. Well, just that, I don't know what, but pick an equally horrific lie. And Obama has told us the lie. His VP has told us the lie. Chuck Schumer is telling us the lie. Nancy Pelosi is telling us the lie. And the TV network we trust, like in my case, it would be CNN, all the top people are telling me the same lie all day. Of course I'm going to believe it, because for me right now, like, I would absolutely, if all the people on CNN told me something, and Obama was telling me, and Pelosi and Schumer and everybody else was telling me, and all my other news services I like to follow are telling me it's true, I'm going to believe it's true. There's no way in hell they're not going to collude. They might get it wrong like Iraq, but they're not going to collude to get it wrong. In this case, you've literally got them colluding on the right to get it wrong. And I think it's such a grand conspiracy of lies that people can't even believe it could be done to them, I think. Because again, if the shoe were on the other foot, you and I would go, of course it's true. Obama's not going to lie to us and along in cahoots with CNN and everybody else. right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they believe it in a really messed up way.
Yeah, but I don't think the left is without getting its lumps, though. I was watching CNN on Inauguration Day, and we were sitting here in the living room watching it, and the giddiness that I saw. There was an interview with, I want to say it was John Kasich, Don Lemon, and I can't remember who the third person was, but the three of them were sitting there and cackling and laughing at the expense of Trump. And you know what? It's one thing if you want to, celebrate the inauguration of Joe Biden. But there is still 74.2 million people that voted for Donald Trump. And whether you want to call it liberal media bias, which I don't necessarily go all the way to that. People are going to see that. And the right is going to use that to justify the idea that there is this liberal media bias.
Can we talk about, and this is interesting because I refuse to weigh in online on this one, although we're going to do it right now, the New York Times editor who got fired.
Yes.
And I'm not going to, I'll tell you and your listeners, but online I was like, forget it. Everyone's freaking out. This New York Times editor, Biden comes on the private jet he took because Trump wouldn't give him the damn government plane, which he's supposed to do. Biden comes from Delaware. He comes flying in, and she tweets out, "Oh my God, I got chills seeing Biden's plane landing." Now, the implication was that, thank God it's Biden and we're getting rid of Trump was the implication. No one has disabused me of that fact. I mean, no one has argued, well, no, she didn't mean that. They're saying, well, because she was expressing joy at the fact that we were overthrowing an authoritarian government, that's something we should all express joy. Well, New York Times got upset and fired her. And now everyone's trying to say, she's got a dog she's got to take care of. And I mean, all these things, and you're like, oh, God. And I don't want to weigh in about it because I feel very bad for this woman.
Sure.
But Jesus Christ, what are you doing? And this is something a lot of journalists I see do. They get into expressing basically their personal opinions in a way that they would have, and they think doing it on Twitter is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why they think it's okay. Like, I can do it and you can do it because we're supposed to be partisans.
Well, even Jim Acosta, though, I mean, who I think is a fantastic reporter.
I love Acosta. Yeah.
I love him, and he's a reporter. But the problem is if he goes on CNN or any other place, if I interview him, I'm going to ask for an opinion. And there was a day and age where reporters didn't give opinions. And now the lines have been completely blurred where they're all giving opinions.
The thing, okay, here's the problem with that, though, right? I remember talking to a colleague who runs a publication, we'll put it that way, at the beginning of the Trump era. And he had told me that they had like a whole editorial decision that they were going to take on Trump because they thought he was a threat to the Republic. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, and I remember we had a long talk about it because I was like, that's really, for an objective publication, that's really interesting to do. And and I think Acosta, I know some reporters who don't like Acosta's take on it from CNN because they do feel like he's being biased. I feel like Acosta and Anderson Cooper and some of the others are doing exactly what they should have done because we did have an authoritarian threat to the country. And they were taking him on the way it should have been taken on. I still think you're right, though. I don't know. Having said that, there's a difference in saying that and in Acosta saying, I got, chills when I saw Biden arriving. It's hard to say, but I feel like they're two sides of the line there.
Yeah.
This guy's an authoritarian. He's a horrible human being. This other one at least looks like he may be and may not be crazy. That's different than saying, yay for the other one. It's a nuance, but right? Acosta's giving his objective analysis of the fact that this guy's a fascist.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just feel like we were literally, the guardrails of democracy in the U.S., that the country was literally within one bad decision from a judge potentially to losing it all.
Yeah.
Like it was that close.
Or how about, I forgot if it was 12,000 votes or whatever it was, maybe 20,000 between three states again. Yeah. Under Hillary, it was like 75,000 between three states. Now it was a lot less. Yeah. This son of a bitch could have been elected again because the idiot Electoral College, right? By popular vote, what did we win by 7 million or so?
Yep.
Right. But by the stupid electoral vote, a couple states could have swung it with just a couple thousand votes. I can't even imagine, especially with what he did on the way out. I don't even want to say saving grace because it's not a saving grace, but the only silver lining I can try to find from what happened on January 6th was maybe this guy finally exposed himself for who he really is. Having said that, impeachment's going not so well because even that one, again, he got 6 people. Let's count the poor officer who killed himself. Yeah. He got 6 people killed. I mean, he's a freaking cop killer, basically.
Yeah.
And that's not even enough.
Well,
it's
going to be fascinating to see
I don't know.
From a legal perspective, and I look forward to getting a legal mind on to talk about it. What happens with him now? I literally thought he was going to walk out of the White House, get to Mar-a-Lago, and get perp walked within about a half an hour. Yeah. So I've already been wrong about that. I thought there was going to be some prosecutor that was going to jump up and say, "Yep, I'm going to be the one to take him down." I'm kind of shocked it hasn't happened yet. We'll see.
I'm shocked how long it takes. Do all the pardons either. That they didn't do all the pardons blew me away too. And I still haven't seen, we've seen stories on it, but I haven't seen an in-depth what actually happened. What did his White House counsel tell him that so freaked him out? He didn't pardon himself. I mean, even if it wouldn't stood in court, go for it.
Right. I said the same thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Although we don't know. Some have suggested this. We don't know that he hasn't put one in his pocket.
Well, that's what worried me because I read that article that said that that just because he pardoned somebody doesn't mean he has to say it publicly. So I could see the son of, and actually, you're right. That's he. Actually, I know because one of the other arguments they made was, well, if you pardon, you're going to have to delineate specific crimes, and Don Jr. doesn't want to confess to a specific crime. Well, why don't you give him a general pardon and let it go to court and see what happens?
Absolutely.
And that way you haven't admitted to a specific crime. I mean, things like that. Because for example, I could see, on the tax stuff with Trump Tower, if you give a pardon and it's considered a confession, now in state court, have you just lost the case because you've confessed in essence? Fair enough. But, a Trump pardoning, I don't know. I'm glad. Well, as you said, I hope he didn't pardon himself and everybody else. If he didn't, I hope this guy has a long life ahead of him of states attorney generals coming after, or attorneys general coming after him.
John Aravosis, Unpresidented podcast. Also, AmericaBlog does a terrific job. John, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for being on Up Late.
And my new Substack, Cyber Disobedience.
Oh, see, everybody's got a Substack. I've got one coming out next week. Everybody's got a Substack. Yeah,
it's the cool kids. We're the cool kids.
John, I appreciate it. Thanks. Go give that dog some water, please.
No, she needs some love. Thanks,
John.
She's a terror. All right, bye, guys.